Hello again, and welcome back to my dice extension challenge. So, in my previous Part A, Part B set, you saw that I had set up 6 different light groupings to be my quote-unquote dice. And so I'm back again with an um, coding and a physical circuit video pairing. Watching one, the other, or both together, whatever's easiest. So the way that I am going to do this is going to be basically showing you my original code, which I have here, and my modified code, and how I decided to change my uh, groupings so that way it looks more like a die. So I have copied over into my next dice challenge code. I've identified 8 pins now. So if you look here, I have pin 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and they all correlate to one of the 7 LEDs. And so how they correlate is LED 1 is going from pin 2, LED 2 is from pin 3, LED 3 is in pin 4, LED 4 is in pin 5, LED 5 goes to pin 6, LED 6 goes to pin 7, and LED 7 goes to pin 8. And of course, my button is still going to be going into pin 13, as you can see by the orange wire on my Arduino video. And I'm going to show you how I set this up. So in setup, I didn't change anything in here from my previous code except for the number 6 to show that there are, that there are 7 here. So it counts as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's all I changed. Everything else is the same. In my loop, I didn't change anything there either. If it rolls a 0, it's going to show 1. If it rolls a 1, it's going to show 2, and so on. What I did change is I took out the fact that it's going to stay off the entire time, and I added a randomizing, I'm plugging it in now so you can see, a randomizing effect so that it looks like it's constantly rolling or moving, and that's just for aesthetic purposes, and that's just controlled by random LED, which is a function I defined at the bottom. And then I have my basic choose. So I have my choose 1, choose 2, all the way through choose 6 functions, just like I did in my previous video, except instead of having 6 digital writes, I have 7 digital writes. And the reason for that is, of course, because my digital write has 7 LEDs here instead of just 6. So the way I guess I'm going to show you how I checked this to make sure that it worked is I created a secondary code, and when I ran this, I took out the loop completely, and so I stopped the loop from occurring at all, and I just set up for it to run each of my functions. So I have choose 6, and if you're watching the video, you see that 6 lights comes on. I'm going to change this to the word 5. And when I change this to 5 and I upload it, if you're watching both videos at the same time, you see that it changes to 5. And so I just did that all the way down to 1. And so I checked all 6 functions to make sure that they actually lit up the corresponding LED. And so I created a completely different title code, and so now I just get out of it when I don't want to mess with it. So in doing that, I still have all of my basic functions, but again that they're all defined. So if I wanted to choose 1, this is LED 4. LED 4 is going to be lit up, and all the other ones are going to be off. If I wanted to do choose 2, that's going to mean that LEDs 2 and 4, or I'm sorry, 6 will be on. 2 and 6, while all the others are off. and so on and so forth, creating the physical characteristic of what a die looks like. And then at the very bottom, I just have the random LED, which is basically just having them go crazy, randomizing all the way through constantly. And that's just written in my if else statement. If I'm not pushing the button, else it's just going to go random. So I also still have my serial monitor printing out what's happening. So the new dice game just began, and I'm going to click this, and I got a 1 on my screen. If you're watching, if you're watching the other video, you can see that a 1 just popped up. I'll do it again, and that's a 4. I rolled a 4, and then I rolled a 1, then I rolled a 4 again, and so on and so forth. I didn't change how I randomized. I didn't change any of my code really, except for how many LEDs and which ones are high and low. Really, the core, the outline, the functions, I really didn't mess with. So I just wanted to show you how I took my first prototype and I transformed it into a digital die.